tell you there is some moving and shaking going on in the Indiana Fever organization because they have definitely let go of a player. Now, I know y'all thinking, what does this mean? This means Caitlin Clark return is sooner rather than later. Could that be why we did not see Caitlin come back? I mean, we did not see Caitlin travel with the team this past week.
The whole basketball world is talking about a move that the Indiana Fever just made. The woman who was meant to be Caitlin Clark's temporary replacement, Kira Lambert, was fired more quickly than a fake sneaker at a Nike warehouse. All of a sudden, every Fever fan with a smartphone and a theory is connecting the dots and understanding Caitlin Clark's return.
The Indiana Fever have officially released Kira Lambert, a guard from overseas who Stephanie White signed on a trust me bro recommendation. Somebody who Stephanie White didn't even know existed up until about 8 days ago. Unfortunately for Kira Lambert, her time on the Indiana Fever has come and her time on the Indiana Fever has gone. Best of luck to you and your future endeavors.
This isn't your average roster change. You have to wonder if the Indiana Fever are playing 4D chess while everyone else is still learning checkers in this type of chess match. Because it isn't performance when you waive someone's replacement before their 7-day contract has even passed. It has to do with creating space. Additionally, there is only one individual in Indiana for whom you should make accommodations.
Now, why is this move curious? Well, Lambert was on a 7-day deal, so the Fever could just be looking at this break knowing that her contract was going to expire anyway and not wanting to waste her time. But under the hardship rules, as that it has been, put out there and publicized, the Fever only had to release one of the two players between Odyssey Sims and Kira Lambert once Caitlin Clark was back. But one of them was going to have...
If you find this entertaining, please subscribe. The Indiana Fever essentially issued a casting call for anyone who could dribble a basketball and wouldn't inadvertently hand it to the other team last week, since they were in such dire need of a point guard. After a successful time in the Greek A1 League, Kira Lambert arrived with a wealth of international knowledge and the perfect words to describe her faith, blessings, and readiness for her moment. The woman spoke of trusting God and staying faithful throughout her path, as if she had been preparing for this moment her entire life.
It's a blessing, having the journey that I've had and just, remaining faithful, trusting God and doing the work and just to see it all come back around and have this opportunity is awesome.
What's this opportunity in the W mean, given all that you've worked to get to this point?
Yeah. I mean, it means everything, to, again, just remain faithful and trust the process. It speaks to resiliency, it speaks to faith, and I'm really excited to be here.
What's your familiarity, if anything, with this team, with Steph, with how they want to run things?
Yeah, I've been watching the W for years. It's the best basketball in the world, so, I've been watching.
This is where things get juicy, though. Lambert was signed for more than just a roster place. She was brought in because the Fever was leaking point guards more quickly than water from a leaking faucet. Caitlin Clark continues to treat her obstinate groin issue. Ari McDonald broke his foot at the end of the season. Sydney Coulson suffered an ACL tear. The team essentially relied on the possibility that a local rec league cousin could fill point guard duties.
Sims has played herself into more of a role for the Fever. She got a bunch of minutes in the game on Sunday, 42 minutes for Sims. Lambert didn't play, right? So you can see relative one to the other where the Fever were looking at things from the pecking order standpoint. Now, there's also the Sophie Cunningham injury, but to be honest, I'm not sure how that would impact things unless they felt they needed somebody at that position rather than more depth at the...
They offered Lambert a 7-day contract, which is equivalent to receiving a tryout for your ideal job in the WNBA, except that Lambert's tryout lasted roughly as long as a TikTok video. On August 17th, she appeared in less than a minute of action against the Connecticut Sun. And then she was gone by Monday. It's not that she didn't do well or that she couldn't take the pressure, but rather that someone else might return. Someone who causes ESPN analysts to go crazy and sells out 15,000-seat arenas.
Just saw the most pointless contract of all time. The most pointless 7-day of all time. Kyra Lambert. They didn't even give Kyra Lambert a page on the WNBA website. I'm not joking. Like, you type in WNBA.com and you look at the Fever's last game. Maybe they updated it because she actually saw the floor. Fever versus Connecticut. Kyra Lambert played a grand total of 4 seconds. She played 4 seconds. It would have been better off just to not play her. Oh wait, it rounded up to 5. They didn't even give her a WNBA page. They did not even give her a...
Here, fans of the Fever are acting like detectives and piecing together information as if they were cracking a murder case. The Fever had space to work with when they signed veteran guard Odyssey Sims, as Independent Star beat reporter Chloe Peterson noted weeks ago. They wouldn't have to break up with anyone when Caitlin Clark returned if they simply stayed with Sims. However, basic logic indicates that when the Queen takes back her throne, one of them had to depart once Lambert was included. Guess who was the first to receive the pink slip? Lambert, N.O. Sims. The veteran, 33, has played in 304 games during her career. Lambert, the woman who was meant to act as a buffer until Clark got back. The woman who talked about possibilities, dreams, and having faith in the process.
Fever fans, I don't know, we might have some good news. Well, we might have some great news. Cece, my precious Cece might be returning. Might be. You hear me? Because they just released Kyra Lambert. You hear me? She had 3 ACL tears. So she wasn't good for nothing anyway. She fragile. How you have that many ACL tears? But thank you for providing us 7 days of your presence. You hear me? We needed you to fill in. You hear me? Because the GOAT, the greatest of all time, is about to return.
However, since the timing here is more accurate than a Swiss watch, let's discuss timing. Caitlin Clark's anticipated return date was moved from August 12th, which came and went, to August 26th, when the Fever played the Seattle Storm at home, according to a recent update to ESPN's injury report. A certain superstar will have plenty of opportunity to regain practice rhythm during the Fever's convenient week-long break, which begins following their Sunday matchup with Connecticut. ESPN's broadcast team even pointed out that coach Stephanie White hopes Clark will return to practice during this break, knowing that she will require many practice days before playing in a game. And what is place immediately following that pause? 2 matches against Minnesota and the home matchup with Seattle on August 26, the precise games that ESPN is aiming for in light of Clark's possible comeback.
Know that once Caitlin Clark was back, one of the 2 hardship signings was going to have to go. So that's naturally where people's heads were thinking when it was reported on the ESPN broadcast that Clark, the hope was she would return to practice this week with target dates the 22nd, 24th, 26th, those games being thrown out as potential return dates. Now, I don't have any other updates on that. I mean, I took Stephanie White's comments as they hope still she returns to at the regular season a little less confident than the...
Let's see. Just before their break week begins, Lambert is waived. The end of that break coincides exactly with Clark's projected return. Sims, a veteran, is retained by the team while the foreign import is cut. Coincidences must be having a field day in Indiana if this isn't a planned event. The response from fans has been nothing short of explosive. Caitlin Clark Celebration Presents, countdown timers, and conspiracy theorist-worthy speculation are all over social media. The Fever, who are currently in 18-15, are fighting fiercely to stay in the playoffs. They are only 2.5 games above 9th place, which would eliminate them from the playoffs. They are currently 3.5 games outside of the 2nd overall seed and just 3 games behind the New York Liberty. Those lofty aspirations don't seem so hard now that Clark is back. Kyra Lambert, poor thing, probably felt she was getting lucky. After dominating in the Greek A1 league for 4 years, this woman finally had her chance at WNBA glory. She talked about how the chance meant everything to her in terms of sticking with her and having faith in the process. She appeared genuinely thrilled to be joining a team she had been following and studying for years, and the Fever organization embraced her.
Fever, please invest in international scouts. They definitely need to invest in international scouts because I know your boy John Liquidator ain't the best advocate when it comes to overseas players, but something I would say, they play hard, bro. Those overseas players play like they got something to prove. I give them that. But far as me, I feel like we got enough talent here at home in our home country to get players. Somebody said every day I question if Amber Cox and Stephanie White are even on the...
However, in the harsh world of professional sports, knowing the rules and fitting in flawlessly are irrelevant if a superior candidate is returning. Because Lambert wasn't good enough. She wasn't cut. Since she was never intended to be permanent, she was cut. She served as a stand-in, a bridge, and a short-term solution while the real solution healed. Let's face it, what would the return of Caitlin Clark mean for the Indiana Fever? However, this goes beyond simply regaining their top scorer or main creator. Prior to her injury, she was averaging 16.5 points, 8.8 assists, and 5.0 rebounds. Restoring the gravitational pull that drives everything else is the goal here. When Clark returns, the club will be even more dangerous, according to coach Stephanie White. She's not just blowing smoke either. This team has developed chemistry and toughness that they lacked the previous season, as they have learned to play without their best player. In Clark's absence, players like Natasha Howard, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell have stepped up and demonstrated their ability to contribute significantly. She won't have to bear the whole burden when Clark returns. She will be the last component that turns an already strong squad into something truly formidable.
Throughout her second season in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark has posted 16.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 8.8 assists per game for the Indiana Fever. Clark started the season on a tear under Stephanie White, but has since struggled to stay on the court, playing her second season as a professional. The Fever have 9 remaining games of their regular season schedule. They have a long break before their next matchup on Friday. The venue will be open, giving Clark a chance to rehab as the Fever take several days off from game.
This is when the exciting part begins. The Fever would qualify for the playoffs with their current 6th place ranking, but they would not have home court advantage. However, with 11 games left and Clark perhaps making a comeback, certain lofty objectives don't seem so unrealistic anymore. One analyst did a wonderful job of breaking down the numbers. This season, Clark has missed 20 games, and his Fever has been 10-10. Imagine, however, if she had participated in those 20 games and they had won 15-5. They would suddenly be in the running for a considerably higher spot at 23-10. The Fever are currently only 3 games behind New York and 3.5 games ahead of the 2nd overall seed, despite their current record. Having Caitlin Clark return for the last stretch may be exactly what propels them into genuine postseason contention in a league where momentum can change suddenly and hot streaks matter. The ideal situation that supporters are speculating about. The team becomes hot, Clark returns healthy, and they have a serious chance to not only qualify for the playoffs but also possibly host a playoff series. For a team that hasn't qualified for the playoffs since 2016, that would be absolutely incredible.